Hi friends, my topic for today is elasticity of demand. This is again a series of lectures on microeconomics and in continuation of demand analysis. What is elasticity of demand? You all know from my previous videos, like demand depends on number of factors like price, income of the consumers, prices of other goods like substitutes and complements, etc. Like if you are talking of tea, the demand for tea depends on the price of coffee. Similarly, the demand for car depends on the price of petrol. So demand depends on number of things. Now, law of demand says that when price rises, people demand less, and when price falls, people demand more. But how much less or more? That we get to know from elasticity of demand. The definition of elasticity of demand. The elasticity of demand is responsiveness of demand to changes in price, income, and prices of other commodities. So how much it will respond to a unit change in price with respect to its three determinants like income, price of its own commodity, and the prices of substitutes and complements. So when we are talking of in respect of price of its own commodity, we have price elasticity of demand. When we are talking of elasticity of demand in terms of the income, we have income elasticity of demand. And when in terms of substitutes and complements, it is cross elasticity of demand. Normally, by elasticity of demand, we mean price elasticity of demand. When it is not specified which elasticity, you have to remember it is price elasticity of demand. The formula is percentage change in demand upon percentage change in price. So you can write it in the proportionate form also. Delta D, delta stands for change and D is for demand. So delta T upon D, D is the original demand divided by delta P upon P. So again, delta is for T, delta is for change, and P is for price. Now, when we do simplification, finally we get delta D upon delta P multiplied by P upon D. Now, we had discussed the dependence on factors which influence demand. That is what are the determinants of demand. In the same way, we have to study factors on which elasticity of demand depends. These factors are nature of the commodity, whether commodity is a necessity, comfort, or luxury. Demand for necessities is inelastic. So a change in price doesn't affect demand much. Like we have the example of petrol. Now in India, the demand for petrol is rising even though the prices are rising. Now again from April onwards, price will rise further because of the duty imposed, cess imposed by the government in the present budget. But since it is a necessary commodity, people have to consume it. No other way. So whatever is the price, we have to consume. Of course, to some extent, it will change, but not much. Like people have to go for the job, so they need petrol in their vehicles. Now, during COVID, you cannot go use public transport also much. Then the second determinant is existence of substitutes. Like for tea, there is a substitute coffee. So if substitutes become cheaper, or if substitutes are available, the demand will be more elastic. For petrol, the substitutes are not that easily available. Of course, electricity bikes and electricity cars are coming up, but they are not still popular. So the demand is inelastic. For the product for which substitutes are not available, demand will be inelastic, or there are no closed substitutes, demand will be inelastic. For the products for which there are a number of substitutes, then the demand will be elastic. Like we can talk of shampoos, soaps. There are large number of substitutes. So demand will be elastic for such product. And then there are number of uses of the commodities. If the commodity can be put to large number of users, n number of users, then the demand will be elastic. Like electricity, when it is expensive, people use it for most urgent use, maybe for the lighting and running on the fans. But when it is cheaper, people will use it even for heating, for cooking also sometimes. In rural areas, you find if electricity becomes expensive, government reduces subsidy on it. They will manage with only one bulb, one small bulb, and if it is cheaper, when it was cheaper, they used to use it very liberally. Nature of uses. If the use for the commodity is more important, its demand will be inelastic. If it is less important, its demand is more elastic. Like for petrol again, the use is more important. You have to reach your job in time, so you need to buy petrol, and therefore the demand is inelastic. Then elasticity also depends on the amount of money spent. If the amount of money spent out of the total income is very small portion, then the demand will be inelastic, like for newspapers. The amount of money spent from the total income is very less. So 50 paisa change or 1 rupee change in the price of newspaper does not affect the demand. Possibility of postponement. If the commodity is such that we can postpone its consumption, then the demand will be elastic. If it is not possible to postpone, then the demand will be inelastic. Like purchase of car. If people expect that after budget, the automobiles are going to be cheaper, maybe there is a tax on it and the government is going to remove it. So what people do is they will wait for the budget to buy the car because there is possibility of postponement. So demand is more elastic. Now demand is less elastic for the goods which are very low price, like I gave the example of newspapers, because it constitutes a very small percentage of your total income. And the goods which are of very high price also, demand is inelastic. Example, diamond, costly clothes, or the luxury cars. Like if somebody is buying a car worth 1 crore, for them it doesn't matter whether 1 lakh price is higher or less. They will buy it if they are interested in buying that car. So guys, thank you for watching, and please subscribe to my channel.